Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of the 72 review. Something a little bit different this weekend. It is FA Cup weekend, fourth round. There is some exciting stuff happening behind me on the TV at the minute. Wrexham are 3-2 up against Sheffield United, which is going to be a huge upset should it continue like that. 7 minutes added time. So we'll keep you updated on that as we go through this show. But if you are new to the channel and this is the first time that you've come onto one of these streams, welcome. Please get your comments in the chat. That drives the conversation most of the time. And you may not recognise the two faces if you're new here. I've got Jake on my left, Ian below me. Jake, you up first. Let the people know who you are and what you do.
I am the resident punk in situ. So basically, I'm Punk Chef 41. I cover all things Sheffield Wednesday pretty much, and I've been doing it for 12ish years or whatever it is. It's been a while. It's been a slog, but I love doing it. I also do a co-host podcast called the Talking Wednesday Podcast, which is out every Tuesday. It's on all podcast platforms of choice. And if you want to have a listen, a distant opinion on that, please do, and leave us ratings. It really does help us.
Lovely stuff. Before we move on to Ian, late drama in the FA Cup. Sheffield United have just equalised on the 94th minute. So that is currently 3-3. Heartbreak for Wrexham, possibly. We will see what happens. Moving on, Ian, anybody who's not seen you, let them know who you are and what you do.
I'm Ian. I'm a 60-odd-year-old Rotherham season ticket holder, been a Millers fan for 50-plus years. I also do, when the Millers are away, I'm all over the country vlogging for Over the Bar Facebook channel. Over the Bar YouTube channel, should I say. I did one at Blackburn yesterday, and it's, I think Dan will leave the link.
Yep, link's already in the description.
Yeah, quite enjoyed yesterday. It were okay. I'm a bit peed off about Blades equalising, though.
Yeah.
You never know. Late drama in this one. Comments are coming in already. We've got Blanchy. Mansfield away wasn't the best. We will get onto that shortly. So, running order. If you are wondering how we're going to do this, we're going to start in the FA Cup, talk about Sheffield Wednesday, Fleetwood, Blackburn, Birmingham, and then we'll have a look at a couple of other games in this weekend's FA Cup fixtures, and then we'll go from Championship down to League Two. So we'll finish on a low note at Mansfield, I think. ATID, only Tin Pot teams played this weekend.
Yeah, well done. Ian, I agree with that.
And Lizzie needs therapy tonight. So Lizzie went to the game yesterday. All reports, it wasn't a great one to watch.
No.
So let's start with the FA Cup. We'll get the ticker across the bottom. We'll get the screen on, and we'll start at Sheffield Wednesday. For Sheffield Wednesday against Fleetwood. Jake, you want to say a few words for Ben Nachman? I don't know if people.
I don't know if people know about it or anything. COD's vlogs, Ben Nappers is currently very ill in hospital. Went for a routine to try and get some fluid out his knee, got some sort of infection, and is really in a bad way. The lad oozes passion and knowledge about this league. You won't find most who know much about this league, and the research he does into his games and in general, he's very knowledgeable. We all here at the EFL show, we wish him the speedy recovery. Take your time before you get back onto those terraces and with all the limbs, but we're all thinking of you, mate, and you've got this.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. One of the best content creators out there.
Yeah, I echo all of that. Get well soon, Ben. And like Jake says, just take your time, get back to 100% before you get back on the terraces.
Yeah. This game was not one for the classics. This game was, you get games in a season where you're like, right, you know how they're going to play, and we should know how they're going to play. We played them last week because we were meant to play Cheltenham in the week, and that got called off due to a frozen pitch, which kind of annoying. It is what it is. But they pressed and harried. But if you actually look at the stats, it shows you it wasn't a great game from either side. It was pretty poor. We had chances, and for us, we had to bring on the cavalry when they went 1-0 up. It was a fantastic diving header. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, a good goal.
That was a really good goal. But we had to bring the cavalry on. We had to bring on Barry Bannon. We had to bring Byers. It's nice to get them some sort of match fitness. But this was the best game I've seen Wilkes all season. He looked like he got his fitness levels now. He looked like he's running the channels. He just looked up for it. And yes, it wasn't his goal in the end, but the effort he went for it shows you that he's at that level. And it was the ones that kept on going back and forth and stuff. Interestingly, Sean Rooney could have quite easily got himself sent off again. He got an early yellow card and he just kept on. He plays like that. He just plays on the cuff of being close to a red. And in the pre-match conference, Darren Moore got asked about what you're going to do when you see him. And he said, I'm just going to give him a big hug kind of thing. And it's one of those things. You look at this game and it's like, it's the last thing we needed was a replay. The last thing I needed was this. If you've not played at Fleetwood, this is their goal celebration music.
Captain Football.
We'll say that's in honour of Ben as well.
Yeah, it is. But no one needs to hear that.
I mean, can you just imagine if your team gets stuff 4 or 5-0 at Fleetwood and hearing that every 5 minutes? God.
All right, and we got stuff 4-1 this weekend. Less of that.
You know what really annoys me about it though? It's like, yes, I put that in the chat with the lads on Twitter. I said I've got PTSD from that music. It just, I can't think of anything worse than that music. Well, they got the replay. We got to go back. We don't need the games and stuff, but it is there. The saving grace for us, Ipswich are in the same boat, and we play them in the same week, which I think that's a nice little segue to that one.
Yeah, so there's no advantage there.
No,
they've not got a full week to prepare. It's literally equal footing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But on this game, like you say, it's not a classic. It
wasn't a classic. It was just that kind of game where both teams tried to get what they wanted. No, both teams just weren't clinical enough. If we were more clinical in the final third, we would have done great. You got the offsides on there, Dan?
2-1.
Yeah, we went offside more than that, and it shouldn't have been given. And you look at the corners though as well. We should be scoring from them. Like this week, we brought in Aidan Flint on loan from Stoke.
That's a good signing. That
it's a very good signing for League One. We had him in on the season we went down, and he's just that experienced head you need. And I think in this league, that's what you need. And we've been told pretty much Michael Owikwe is going to be out for the season, which is a blow. So that's probably why he's coming in. And it wouldn't surprise me when they bring in another 2 or 3 centre backs in on the transfer window, because that's what we're lacking.
There's still a few days left, isn't there?
Yeah, it closes on Tuesday at 11 p.m. And thankfully for us, Darren, it sounds like Darren's been. You know what Darren Moore's like when it comes to transfers, Dan. When he talks, he doesn't let media rattle him. He's always quite cagey. But he always says near the end of the window, like, I've got 2 or 3 targets I've been wanting, and I've been waiting till the end of the window to get them in, because he waits to see what other clubs are doing. He doesn't want to rush and get someone in when he knows he can get that player he wants in. And I think that's what he's done again. He waited to see if any clubs have got any injuries. And the World Cup won't have helped with some of the Premier League lads, because they will want to see what happens. So I think this is smart. I know there've been a lot of Wednesday fans going, look at Ipswich, look at Plymouth. Yeah, look at them. They've got the players in early. Great. That's great for them. Gives them more time to gel. But I don't think we actually needed that much anyway. So
no, I think you're putting kind of the cherry on the top at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just that last little bit we need to finish it. But at the end of the day, it's not what I wanted. I had this thing, I could have quite happily gone out the cup and been happy about it. But the part of me that was like, I want to keep that unbeaten run going. But I also
wait till the draw.
Yeah,
and you've drawn somebody like City at Etihad or something like that, you know.
Yeah, nice big earner. Well, no, Fleetwood's a difficult place to go.
Yes.
So
I know we've been there.
Yeah,
this will be the second time. 4 times. We did this last year with Plymouth. Can I have one season where I don't play a team 4 times?
You don't want to be a fan of the Scottish League then, no?
I kind of am. Come on, missus is a Celtic fan.
Well, can you just imagine, though? I mean, fan of an SPL team that have got to play the same team 4 times every season.
Yep.
Yeah, not for me, that.
To be
No.
fair,
So-
it could have been worse. I think it was Aberdeen. I think they lost 6-0.
Yeah, and sacked the manager 19 minutes later, didn't they?
Yeah.
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 Wow. ATID's in the chat. A brilliant weekend for us, despite not playing. We will have a look at League One shortly, and then Nat is in the chat. Evening, good
Nat.
evening, Nat. Ian, you went to watch Blackburn against Birmingham. Tell us about this one.
Well, all I can say, it was a cracking FA Cup tie. There were chances at both ends from virtually the start. There were 2 clubs that had both looked decent going forward, but neither team could defend properly. It could have been about 5 apiece, really, dead easy. Birmingham looked strong earlier on, and I think it's Cadra, how you pronounce it, put them in front very early, about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And they looked pretty good. Kaminski, I think, in the Blackburn goal, were at fault for it. I think he took it early and surprised him, and he parried it just into the net. And he nearly conceded again from the same player. And he sort of like fumbled it out for a corner. It could have gone in. That could have been 2-0, but Blackburn woke up then. Bradley Dack scored an equaliser on about half-hour mark. It was a scramble in the area. The keeper parried it, and Dack put the rebound in. And then right at the start of the second half, Rankin Costello, who looked decent throughout, put Blackburn 2-1 up. Good, it was a good shot from the edge of the box, about 20 yards. Blackburn looked in control then. Then Berriton Diaz went clean through 1-on-1 and lobbed the keeper, but lobbed it wide, which gave Birmingham the impetus to come on. They made a couple of substitutions, and just as the referee put 5 minutes added time up, one of them, that Jordan James, equalised. And in truth, I think Birmingham deserved the replay, but it was a cracking cup tie, like I said, and it were awful weather conditions. It was just constant drizzle from start to finish. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Has Bertrand Diaz actually signed? Because I've seen stuff that he's not signing a new contract and he's leaving.
Well,
for free.
what I was told from Blackburn fans in the ground is that he'd already signed a pre-contract one with Villarreal in
that's what
Spain.
that's what I heard, and
I think that's the general consensus of Blackburn supporters.
If that's the case, that's some really bad transfer business.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you
the
just let
thing
a lot of
is,
money come out.
right, I don't think this transfer is going to come off until the summer.
Yeah, but it's
We'd
still,
leave on a free, wouldn't he?
yeah, he's still
Yeah.
leaving on a free when he can get a lot of money for him. Like you just mentioned Bradley Dack, and I completely forgot about Dack because
Well,
Dack
he's been
was one
out
of-
for the best part of 2 years,
Yeah.
injured.
Yeah, it's just one of the players that I kind of seem to forget about. And I remember him being talked about being this next big thing. And then
He's a very talented footballer.
good.
Very talented
He's very
footballer.
good.
And he played really well yesterday. He's all right in that number 10 support striker role. I think
Yeah.
that's his best position. But,
I'd agree
as
with
far as Berriton Diaz is concerned, he's probably is in the last 6 months of his contract. So they wouldn't have got, I don't think they'd have got massive money for him if they'd have sold him in January.
It just seems weird when in terms of he had interest in the summer,
Yeah.
and you kind of get feeling that they might not be wanting to sign then, where
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
maybe we sell him. We got the same thing with Deli Bashiru. We had an opportunity to let him go to Blackpool for about under $1 million, and we didn't want to sell him for that. And now he's been linked. I put like an air quote with AC Milan thing, PSV, and I think
Yeah,
it's all
I've seen
agent
that.
talk. I think it's all agent talk, just to try and get him a better deal or get it shifted. But at the same time, if you let a player go down to his last 6 months, you put him in a situation where it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to think about what the player's thinking as well. I mean,
It's a job.
they'll
It's their
have-
job.
Yeah, they'll have families. They might
Mortgages.
have moved yeah,
I mean, look
relocated
at it from Brereton Diaz's point of view. He's joining a club that are in the top half dozen Spanish clubs.
I'm sorry, the way I was looking at it, going to sunny Valencia or Villarreal on wet Lancashire. I know which one I'd pick.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's
definitely
got
not
to have
Lancashire.
improved his finances considerably going over there.
Did I say 100
'Cause-
million? I meant 1 million.
Yeah. I
know
was
what I
thinking 100 million. Where did you get that from?
You know what I meant? 1 million.
Just there, Blackpool will be flying up the table. They'll have plenty of funds to strengthen. So moving on to other FA Cup ties, I think we'll go to today's game. It's still saying that it's live on here, but it has finished. No, it's full time. It's
Full time.
definitely full time. It's finished 3-3, and the bit that I watched of this, I thought was a cracking cup tie. I thought it was going to run away from Wrexham early on. Ollie McBurney setting Sheffield United off very quickly with a great header, and then a couple of injuries for a couple of defenders for Wrexham. It looked like it just wasn't going to be their day. But I think we were saying before we came live, Mullin far too good for this level. I think he'd fit in fairly comfortably at Championship level, but he's down there for a reason. I think Jake said that the reason is his missus wanted to.
It sounds as what I've heard. It sounds like his missus found out Ryan Reynolds was at the club and pushed him out the door. To be fair, can you imagine turning around and to someone one day and go, "My boss used to be Ryan Reynolds"?
Yeah,
It's a good conversation starter.
yeah,
And
it's not bad on the CV, is it?
And also, if you're a player building into this, what they're wanting to build, if you watch the Welcome to Wrexham thing on Disney Plus, please do it. Very, very good. If you look what they're doing, they are wanting to do it for the community. They're not doing it for clout. They want to be here for decades. They want to actually run this like a football club. You look at the people who they got in. They've not gone, we're celebrities, we're going to do it this way, we haven't got a clue. No, they've gone, we don't have a clue. How do we do this? And they've asked the right people. Yeah. And you give them respect to running it as a business and not a plaything. It might look like a plaything, but how passionate he was when he celebrated when they went 3-2 up, it means a lot to these guys. They care.
Yeah, he's clearly invested, like you say, in the club and the community, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think credit where it's due for sure.
I think they've both got the keys of Wrexham.
And I'll tell you this much: I don't. If the Blades think this ties over in the replay, I think they might get a surprise. It's not over by any means.
No, Wrexham have gone toe to toe with Sheffield United today, and that's why the FA Cup's so fantastic, isn't it? Because it gives opportunities of non-league teams to put the Sens up against.
I think the draw's going to be a bit of a farce. I think it's 6 or 7 ties ending in draws.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the fifth round draw is going to be somebody, or against somebody else, or.
Yeah. I think it's 120,000 if you win the 4th round. So it's a lot of money for a club. People go, "Oh, it's not a lot of money for a club like Wrexham now." They got, but it still is. That's still stuff they can use money to. Yeah. If they can use money where the owners don't have to pump it in, the better.
Definitely. Anthony's put a comment in the chat. Blackburn have taken Sorba Thomas on loan for 6 months last season. He was Huddersfield's best player. This one, nowhere. His head's been turned by Wales. So, yeah.
To be honest, Anthony, I think this season he's been Huddersfield's best player. He's the only one that's shown any creativity. And I think Blackburn taking him, if they can put him on form, there's very few wingers in the Championship that's as good as Thomas on his day.
Yeah, I think Huddersfield have had a tough season, haven't they? From going so close to getting into the Premier League last season in the playoffs.
One for you lads. Can you know how Preston had it that they play Tottenham at the weekend?
Yeah.
So back in 2021-22 season, they turned around and said they were not having 32 Red as their sponsor anymore, saying it gave misgivings to bought into betting companies on their young, impressionable fan base and all that kind of stuff. One season later, Preston North End are pleased to announce that At Stake will be the club's official sleeve sponsorship for the weekend for the FA Cup tie.
Yeah.
Money talks, lads, doesn't it?
I love to see them stick to the guns, but I understand why it's money. But I don't know about anyone. I hate betting companies on shirts. I hate it when it comes to football. And you
I
see a
do as
betting
well.
advert, it does my head in.
It sends the wrong message, doesn't it? Completely the wrong message.
See, I'm on the different side of the fence to you guys. I'm not fussed on what is on the front of shirts.
Yeah,
but
there's.
I never used to have a problem with Carlsberg on the front of Liverpool shirt.
When you consider that there's kids buying shirts and whatnot.
So what do we have on shirts then?
Well, non-controversial companies, you know.
Yeah, but find one. To be fair, find one of them that doesn't then suddenly have some sort of controversy. It's difficult. I understand it, and I understand like the sense when they took tobacco off the F1 cars back in the day. It's very hard to go the moral high ground when you then turn around to a club and say, right, where am I going to get this extra money from? And I understand it at the business side.
Yeah, but there's one or two clubs that have had charities on it. I mean,
we did it.
The one that put the NSPCC on the shirts. I can't remember who it was.
That was Chef Wednesday, wasn't it? Didn't you have NSPCC?
No, I think was it Plymouth?
I think we've had NSPCC on ours before. It was like a charity third strip. We have Calm on the front of ours as well. Campaign against living miserably. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because clubs need to get sponsorship from somewhere. There's only so many companies, and we've shown here we've got 3 people who normally agree on pretty much everything that we talk about on these shows, and it's split us, hasn't it?
It's all about opinions, isn't it? At the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh, there is that though. Anthony,
clubs
aren't allowed to print the betting companies on child shirts. So
that's very true.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they're not allowed to do it when it was alcohol either.
So therefore, you've got kids wanting authentic shirts. They don't want to be buying shirts that have not got the authentic sponsor on.
Yeah.
So that's another problem.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a difficult one, but where do they get the money in?
ATID fired some shots as well. Sheffield Wednesday Fleetwood versus Sheffield United Wrexham. Gonna be good to see Nappers versus Ryan Reynolds in round 5.
I hope Nappers is around for 5th round draw. Round and what I meant was back in harness.
Yeah, definitely. The only other FA Cup game that I wanted to touch upon was the Luton Town Grimsby, because I thought Grimsby played very, very well at an informed Championship team. So again, it just
shows. Did anyone see the Grimsby cameraman going mental? I absolutely love it. I got to do my job, but that was great.
No, I think
they're not a bad side, Grimsby.
No,
they're not a bad side at all. And it's a pity that Harry Clifton couldn't finish that chance off to win it for them.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, they certainly surprised me, because I thought they'd get absolutely stuffed at Luton, because they're the top end Championship side.
Yeah, very good Championship team, especially at home as well.
And I don't think they'll get it all their own way at Blundell Park, because that can be a bit intimidating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But no, it's great to see lower league clubs going toe to toe with higher teams for sure. But yeah, great result.
It's always the FA Cup's always been the great leveler, though, hasn't it? It's 11 against 11.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and they do tend to raise the game.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So before we move on, Jake, out of all the teams that have won, all the teams that have drawn, which you could potentially draw in the next round, who would you want? And would you want it at home or away?
I want it at home.
Leeds.
League would be a good one. League would be good. As much as people are expecting to say a Steel City derby, I don't want it. They'll batter us, I reckon.
Do you know what would be fantastic, Jake? Tottenham away.
Yeah, that would be good. I wouldn't mind Grimsby, just because it'd be nice for Alex Hunt to get a reception from Wednesday at home, because he never really got one before he left. So it'd be nice to have the player get his reception.
I'll tell you, if I were a fan of any of the teams that are still in the FA Cup, the one I wouldn't want would be Brighton.
Yeah,
definitely.
To be
yeah,
fair, if you're
obviously.
looking at, you want to look at teams that you can beat.
Yeah, because
Well, that's what I
Brighton
was just
did
about
look
to
good
say.
today.
I think at this stage of the competition, there's not really a team that you can look at and think we could beat them, because it's all decent
That's right.
teams.
But lads,
that
I
are
don't
here
want
for a reason.
fixtures. I don't want fixture pile up. I said
Yeah.
it before.
I'm
I could've quite
calling
happy
this.
to
I'm
lose
calling this on the one outstanding game. I think Derby will turn West Ham over.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that'll be a good one to watch tomorrow night for sure.
Yeah.
So that rounds the FA Cup up. 25 minutes on that. That's not too bad, but we will quickly fly through the Championship. We only had 3 games yesterday. Hull beating QPR 3-0. Coventry beating Huddersfield 2-0. Sorry, Anthony. And Middlesbrough beating Watford 2-0.
Can I just say the thing about Middlesbrough as well that I said beforehand, lads?
Go for it.
This is an incredible turnaround by Michael Carrick. They were 21st in the Championship when he got the job. He was appointed, and when he was appointed, they are 3rd. He'd done it in 91 days.
Wow.
You do not learn all the stuff you learned from Sir Alex Ferguson and over the years, and that doesn't rub off on you. It's showing that it does. And they're recruiting well. He's made them hard to beat. He's made them lovely to watch at the moment. I think when you see some of these situations with managers, and there's been a couple of manager changes over the week, we called it last week saying that we thought Torre was going to go from Wigan. He went. Sean Maloney's now there. I think you start looking at some of these first-time managers and you think maybe it's time to go lower. Yes, this is his first job, but he's shown that he can do it.
Oh, yeah. We are today. I mean, he started brilliantly.
Yeah.
He has. But can he keep that up? And also, he's recruited Rotherham's, in my opinion, best and most creative player in Dan Barlaser, who's gone to Borough today. I don't know for sure what the fee is, but it's undisclosed.
Yeah.
But the guy within the last 6 months of his contract, he's been our best player for a couple of seasons now. And I think he deserves a crack at a high-end Championship club.
Yeah.
And he goes with my best wishes. I'm really sad that he has gone, but it was inevitable that it would go sooner or later. He's a player that I think that could play in the Premier League. That's how highly I rate him. He's a guy that can put 40-yard passes on a sixpence, and that's rare in this game.
Yeah, they're few and far between, aren't they?
He kind of reminds me when Barnsley lost their main central mid who went to West Brom. Is it Mawson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he went, when they lost him, it was like it's the right time for him to go and get credit. And it's a weird situation when you see clubs like this do well. And let's be fair, it's very rare Steve Gibson gets a manager appointment wrong.
Yeah. Oh, he's a hell of a chairman.
But fantastic.
They've got a good setup up there.
Yeah. Like you said,
our last home game of the season is at home to Middlesbrough.
Oh, God.
So I'm sure Dan Barlaser will get a hell of a reception. But he'll have to work to get in that team, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good squad. But like you said, Jake, 9 wins from 13 has catapulted Middlesbrough from relegation into 3rd. And this win got them leapfrogging Watford as well. So fantastic result for them.
Yeah.
We will have a quick look at Coventry against Huddersfield. Anthony's put a couple of comments in, so we'll read through those and open it up for discussion. So from what the papers are saying, Huddersfield are on sale for £1, but you must take on the debt of 14 million and pay back the owner what they have lost of 34 mil. The planned protests already in the mix. Where's the Premier League money gone? This new manager's a waste of space. No one likes him. I asked Twitter to give me one reason why he should stay, and isn't yet to receive a reply.
It's not looking good, is it? It's
not
looking good at all.
That, Anthony, obviously a Huddersfield fan, so knows his club much better than what us three do. This is where I think, taking it to using Rovers as an example, we keep on getting told that we're self-sustainable, we're not running any debt or anything like that. So if our board were to put us up for sale, surely Doncaster Rovers is a better proposition for a prospective buyer than the likes of Huddersfield, where you've got, what's that, £48 million worth of debt that you're taking on before any penny that you put in is going into sort of infrastructure or whatever it is you want to invest.
He's got a good point though when he says, "Where's the parachute payments gone? You know, from when they were in the Premier League."
Yeah.
Well, how many managers did they have to sort out?
Yeah, and pay
I've
off.
paid managers off.
Yeah,
high wages.
They brought Jordan Rhodes on. I know he's a club legend there, but they brought him on a 3-year contract.
It's crazy money, isn't it? As well,
Yeah,
£34 million the owners lost. But then, like you say, the parachute payments doesn't sound all that kosher, does it?
no, it's. And let's just say how well Coventry are doing with all the things they got going off the pitch, with everything they're going through, like trying to find stadiums and stuff like that.
They don't know which stadium they're going to be playing in from 1 week to the next. And Mark Robins, who I rate very highly as a manager.
I still say Mark Robins is the kind of person who's going to get headhunted soon to a big job. I'm not saying Coventry isn't a big job, but one of the people who come down and say we need someone to do this.
Yeah,
because he's that good.
I mean, I say,
he did relatively well when he was with us, Robins. He did exceptionally well at Barnsley.
He's a nice bloke as well,
and he's a lovely fella and all. Yeah.
But like you say, all the turmoil off the pitch for Coventry, and the smack bang in the middle of the table and in the mix, aren't they? Doing well.
Another remarkable thing is the way that QPR have gone backwards in the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, they just not really recovered after he went to Rangers. Pardon me.
Yeah, it takes a lot of recovering from, because Beale were doing a good job there.
Yeah.
The bottom of the table still looks extremely tight. I was about to ask you two gents your thoughts on that. We will just have a quick look. Anthony's put a message in. We've got some major injuries. The biggest, our keeper, who was Championship Keeper of the Year. The other injuries are coming back, so we will see. I won't call it yet on the relegation.
No, you're right not to call it. You're right not to call it. There's still a lot of the season still to go.
You're only at the half.
And they're not that far behind.
You go on a winning streak, you pull Cardiff into that. And Cardiff were in another team who were in a bit of a mess.
I think the positives for Blackpool and Huddersfield, only being 3 points behind, is the goal difference as well.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Wigan, 4 points behind.
I think Cardiff are in a very precarious position.
Yeah. Have they got a manager in yet?
I'm not sure. But yeah, for me, the goal difference, that's like an extra point in itself, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So,
but I saw enough of Birmingham yesterday to think that they're not bad going forward. They've got this winger called Chong, big long-haired guy he is, and he were really good yesterday. And they've got Hogan and Jokovic up front, so they'll always score, but defensively, at times, they just look woeful.
Yeah.
Dapper, guess who Cardiff have got in a manager?
Go on.
Lamucci.
Oh!
Who?
Lamucci, former Nottingham Forest. That Mr. Joe Untold favourite manager. He gotta go. He's useless.
You're joking.
Nope.
Oh.
And that what sort of difference do you think Big Mick will make at Blackpool?
I think he'll make a massive difference. He'll just make them play for the shirt more.
Yeah.
He's the kind of bloke that he will, if they do something bad, you'll see a story saying Blackpool were training on beach because he said they're not ready for a training pitch yet.
He'll probably have them training on beach at midnight, Mick McCarthy.
Yep.
He's a bit of a disciplinarian, isn't he?
Blackpool training on the beach because Mick McCarthy says they're all donkeys.
Yeah.
But no, top of the table. I'm here all week, guys. No, top of the table, Burnley, Sheffield United. Thank you. No, Burnley, Sheffield United still running away with this, but Middlesbrough in a much better position after that victory over Watford. But we say it every week, it is extremely tight. There's going to be changes for sure. But I think this shows how good a result that was for Grimsby in the FA Cup. Luton just outside of the playoffs on goal difference in the Championship. So a massive result for them that can't really be overlooked in the FA Cup. Couple of comments have
And a
come
big
in.
payday at Blundell Park in the replay as well.
Definitely. ATID said it last week.
Yeah.
Birmingham will be in the relegation fight up to the final day when all the results will go their way and they'll stay up on goal difference. Yeah, I think that happened a few
Yeah, I can
seasons
see that.
back. I think they scored and sent us down when we were at Leicester, I believe. I say a few
think
seasons
you
back.
look
It's
at
probably about
Birmingham,
12
you
years.
look at Cardiff. They're two teams who very luckily at times miss relegation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Huddersfield did have Blackpool, but it was called off. So Anthony's a little bit worried now. He likes Mick a lot and he's had a bit of time with the squad now, so he's now questioning if they'll get the
Actually, they
result.
put a good fight up against Southampton in the cup.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That's a good point from ATID. Grimsby slapped us 5-1, let's not forget. So yeah, they're not a bad team.
Yeah.
So that's the Championship covered. We will now move on to League One. Let's get the banner changed before I forget. And almost a full set of fixtures. Obviously, a couple of teams were playing in the FA Cup this weekend. I think we're only going to choose 2 games in this one. We're going to have a look at Morecambe against Bristol Rovers and Burton against Oxford before we move on to League 2. If anybody from the other clubs is in the chat, please get in and we'll squeeze you in. Why not? We've got plenty of time. Well, let's start at Morecambe.
I can't understand.
They can't defend.
I can't understand how Morecambe, who couldn't hit a barn door with a bazooka before Christmas, have suddenly gone goal crazy.
Yep.
I mean, that's their second big home win in succession.
But also, where is this amazing defence that Bristol Rovers had gone?
Yeah, true enough.
It's weird. It's like you look at those goals, especially Carl Stockton. He looks like he's the player that he was before.
Yeah.
It's like the manager sit down and says, right, let's get over this. Let's put this to bed. Let's just get this sorted and we'll figure out what happens next. It's like they got to halfway through the season and they gelled all of a sudden. All the players that are there have started to gel. All the players are starting to sing off the same hymn sheet. And sometimes it does take halfway through a season for players just to click and go.
And there were
right,
some half-decent finishes in that lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stockton's in particular. When he's going through, he was just like the Stockton of last season.
Yeah, I think we did say a few weeks back that Christmas changes everything. The January transfer window changes things in the league as well.
It's not like Bristol Rovers didn't have chances.
No,
They didn't. They had plenty of chances, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think Morecambe fans will like the look of that, though. I was going to say 5 different scorers, but one of those is an own goal. I didn't watch the highlight of this one.
It's just one for the other team.
Was somebody behind him to knock it in, or I don't know.
Kind of.
But yeah, four different scorers is always nice to see, isn't it? The goals getting spread out. But that's
Joey
the
Barton
second defeat in a row for Bristol Rovers. And Barton came out and absolutely laid into his players, didn't he? Saying that he expects him to reimburse the fans the cost of tickets and travel.
You've got to be careful, though. He did that at Fleetwood.
Yeah.
He did similar at Fleetwood, and that's when it started to go a bit downhill.
You can quickly lose a dressing room, can't you?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting because he did that a couple of times at Fleetwood. It started to go a bit wonky. So
what I will say here at Bristol Rovers, though, is they do seem to have quite a tight knit team. They've all just shaved the head for I can't think of the player's name. Who's
Nick Anderson?
Yes. So yeah, they've all pulled together with that. So I think there is kind of that tight knit element in the squad. So I think
maybe always good to see.
Yeah. ATID said it was Tom Anderson-esque dapper. Yeah, cheers. We'll get onto that one shortly. But no, a great result for Morecambe, which we'll see the table shortly. Another great result down towards the wrong end of League One was Burton's 2-0 victory over Oxford. And
that was a complete surprise to me because Burton didn't look in any sort of form, and I would more or less writing them off. But what a result that is, because I've said before on here that Oxford on the day and with the squad they've got should be pushing for promotion, but something's obviously badly wrong down there.
It sounds like it's the typical Carl Robinson done as much as he can to a point, because there's a lot of fans now calling for his head. With that front. But what's surprising is how can you go from beating Ipswich to to then lose 2-0. Surely you got a way of like keeping that momentum. You know what I mean? It's a weird one, and I did not see this one coming. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I don't think many people did.
This one threw me, but Burton have got this in their locker this season.
Yeah, this is the first win of 2023, isn't it? And it was much needed. I think the timing couldn't have been any better because it's really closed the bottom of the table up. Forest Green looking like they're getting cut adrift a little bit. Ian, you've got worries about Forest Green. We'll bring them up.
I can't see him surviving. I just can't see him surviving. I mean, that must have been heartbreaking. 2 injury time goals when they were a goal up.
Switched off, haven't they?
But Shrewsbury have got that in the locker.
I think they're only like 2 points off playoffs.
Yeah, they're doing it. Cotterell's doing a fantastic job there.
Yeah. One of their big signings they made in the summer with the defender from us, Shea Dunkley, who they got on a free transfer. And he just marshalled at the back. He never worked out for when he was at us, but he's so good at marshalling defensive. The thing is, they've taken a big gamble with getting Duncan Ferguson. It is a gamble, but at the same time, Duncan Ferguson got asked by Carlo Ancelotti to go to Real Madrid with him. And he said, no, I'm staying at Everton. If Carlo Ancelotti sees something and said, I want you to come work for one of the best clubs in the world.
Yeah. And he refuses it.
Yeah. And he's always done good when he's already had the temporary charge at Everton. It's a good appointment. I think it's a good club to get him started at. He'll have gone mental at that, but what can he do in like 2 days in that he was doing? And he's got to get used to a vegan diet.
Yeah, and that always takes some getting used to. Veggie burgers. Yeah.
That interview Guy did with him was just, it was cringe.
Proper cringy, weren't it? Just a couple of veggie burgers. He's looking at them as if to say, what?
And then asking, Lisa can have the chips. And it's like, the chips are vegan. It's like, huh?
But no, the table.
Also, I mean, just as though we're going on the right track, damaging defeat for MK again.
Yeah.
Still outside of the drop zone, though.
Yeah.
Surely they'll take that after the season that they've had
but
so far.
Is that because Accrington were in the FA Cup? Yeah,
probably. By the way, talking
about 3 games in hand, isn't there? I didn't see that.
Did people see the Leeds United fan doing the worm on the pitch?
No.
Are you not seeing this? When Leeds United scored, a fan did the worm on the pitch when they scored. And I was like, you just go versus Accrington Stanley. Come on. Leeds United.
I've literally just written Leeds fan worm. I will look that up after this. But no.
Cambridge are down there now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Actually, I thought they got a decent point at Lincoln.
Yeah.
But they're just straight next to bottom now.
It's the goal difference with Forest Green, isn't it? You can't see them getting a game.
Look how Morecambe have shot up.
The results, it's amazing what goes on at the minute. Like, you look at certain clubs where they were and then where they shoot up. And
that's good. Four wins out of the last 5.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's better than some top
that.
Yep.
Can't grumble at that. Anthony's wanting to raise a point. 2 Premier League players have not turned up for training, so they could get a move away. Trossard and Gordon, Caicedo have done the same at Brighton, and they've said he's not for sale and dropped him. Surely is a bad thing in football, and from what I've seen, Gordon has issued a parting shot to the Everton fans.
Yeah, I've seen the interview with it because it happened while we were on and just had a quick thing. Gordon's is a bit more of a slap in the face because he's a boyhood Everton fan. He's done that. Now, I think the move Brighton done is very clever. It's taking the power away from the players. So you don't have to do that thing. I'm not coming into training. No. They're like, they've gone, no, you're not. Fine. We don't want you at training until after the window. Done. But on the player point of view, if you look at where he comes from and everything, he's currently earning a couple of thousand. He go from earning a couple of thousand to multi-millionaire in one window.
Yeah.
It's a hard one for the player not to try and force when you can see where he comes from and how much money that could help going back home.
But this is a thing throughout football. I mean, I think players and their agents have got too much power.
I miss the days of Brian Clough.
Yeah. Too much sway over the clubs that they actually represent.
You got to
I
give
can't
credit.
remember who
to Brighton.
said it, but somebody said it's the name on the front of the shirt is more important than the one on the back.
Yeah,
Anybody know whose quote that
absolutely.
was? Please let me know. 'Cause
110%.
It's from somewhere.
Mm.
I think it might be from Goal, the film.
Yeah, it probably is.
But no, top of the table. So a good weekend for Plymouth, still on top, even though they didn't play. Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich in the FA Cup, and both
Derby.
drawing in the FA Cup. So that's an extra game needed for them. So it's positive for Plymouth in this one.
Good weekend for Bolton.
Yeah.
It's from Goal.
There we go. I knew it was in there somewhere.
It's the training bit where they're in the training bit and they're doing that bit. Yeah, well done. Good film that as well.
Ask me when me and Vicky got together. Not got a clue.
You're not watching it.
Yeah, it looks like Portsmouth mini revival's over.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a slow burner, that one, isn't it? But
I think the thing that I see on the games is our games in hand. We win them, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, true enough. Do you think Clark Harris could go do a job higher up the pyramid, say championship level?
Yes and no. I've seen Bell where he looked good, but I also think he's one of those players who found his level.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. And also he's a very confidence-based player, isn't he?
He reminds me a lot of Michael Smith, the old Peterborough striker who just retired.
Oh, Craig McHale-Smith, yeah.
Because he was always good at one league, but whenever he went up, it never seemed to materialise.
Yeah, just couldn't quite take that step up and continue that form in a higher division.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree with you, Jake. I think probably Clark Harris League One is his comfort zone where he's going to produce.
I'm just looking at Shrewsbury's recent form.
Superb.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. Definite outside. Well, I say outsiders. Definite chance of playoffs if
they're in the mix, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to open up towards the top end a little bit, though. I mean, we look at the table every week, and 9 times out of 10 we say it's really tight. But
I say next week and the week after is where you're going to see what's happening at the top. Because both sets of teams play each other over that week, and we got Plymouth on Saturday, and we got Ipswich the following Saturday. So if that could open it up a lot.
Yeah.
Like you said at the start, before we came on, if you get 4 points from those 2 games,
I'll be happy with
it.
Yeah, definitely. Anthony said, did you see Huddersfield player Kachunga deliberately punch player in the stomach and then the ref sent the wrong person? That was, did he send Dion Charles off?
Yeah.
No. Was it?
I think it was Dion Charles.
Yeah. I remember seeing it.
It was not nice.
I never saw that at all.
We'll send it through to you. Yeah. Moving on, we're hurtling towards the hour mark.
So hang on, before we start, Dapper, are you sitting company? It's a safe base with 2 friends. You're
all right. Luckily, I didn't spend any money traveling or going to this game. Frustrating. We've had 3 weeks to prepare for this, and it's just the worst start possible. 25 seconds in, going 1-0 down. I don't think Anderson could have done much about it from seeing the highlights. I think he's just tried to get something on it and he's just diverted it into his own net. But
at what point did you see your phone and start drinking more?
As soon as it went 1-0. But no, in fairness, I tweeted that Mansfield had gone 1 goal up in the last 3 home games and failed to win. I think they'd won 1 in their last 7 home games. So I had a little bit of hope that we could turn this around. But the second goal, it looks like handball to me. A lot of the fans who were there said that it looked like it struck his hand before he rifled it into there. A fantastic finish after he did control it but then we've got a mountain to climb straight away. And my frustrations at the minute, the jury's still out with Danny Schofield. It's one plan, and I think we've already been found out under him. If teams presses, they're going to get joy. And to ship 4 goals, it's disappointing. So Lizzie said it's honestly horrendous. So little get up and go from us, which it makes it difficult.
Especially when you had 3 weeks to get ready.
To be quite honest, it's a bit of a local derby, isn't it? Really. So if they can't if they can't get motivated, there's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, having 3 weeks off, there should have been absolutely raring to go. And by the sounds of it, we weren't. I mean, Kyle Hurst, Roshan Williams has driven forward with the ball, and he gets a lot of stick, Roshan Williams, but there is some times where he gets the ball at his feet and he does drive forward. I think he does put us on a positive footing.
At 2-1, you're thinking you could get back into this?
Yeah. He's played the ball through to Kyle Hurst. Lovely finish. Lewis is saying we was all over them the second half until Mansfield got the third. I'm sick of the long breaks and rubbish performances after. Yeah, we've had a few occasions where we've had a long break between games, and then we've just not been at the races when we've come back. So
it can happen, though. It can happen.
Yeah,
you think it's like
next week. We've got Hartlepool at home.
I mean, it's like the first 3 games that Rotherham had after the World Cup break. We were absolutely awful.
Thing is, though, they've come out and said that training's been fairly intense. It's been good. So for me, there's no excuse for not turning up. It's frustrating. But the third goal, it's poor defending from Tom Anderson.
I will say Lavery is an absolute cracking player he's got in. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times. Liz has just said that Lavery looked decent when he came on. I think we need to play 2 up front. I think Miller needs that support. But
Jake, answer me one question.
Yeah,
Lavery's played for both United and Wednesday, hasn't he?
He has.
Chesterfield as well, I think.
Yeah, he liked being.
I think he lives in Yorkshire.
Yeah. He played for both, yeah. I think he was involved when we beat Leeds 6-0 at home, if I remember correctly. One of the goals.
Yeah. But yeah, I could go on for hours at the minute. I'm so frustrated with the club from top to bottom at the minute. But yeah, we haven't got the time. I think that's for a different show, maybe. But a damaging defeat, and it's just put more fuel in the fire for the toxic fan base at the minute. And that's no disrespect to our fan base, because I completely understand where they're coming from, because I'm as frustrated at the minute. So we need a big performance on Saturday at home to Hartlepool. I think if it doesn't go our way, it could get very, very nasty very quickly. So
you could do a few goals back in that one as well.
Yeah, just something to get. I think it'll be plasters over wounds at the minute. But we need a good performance and a decent result. ATID's asked Jake a question, so
it hit the nail on the head already.
Yeah, so he's asking why did you Sheffield Wednesday delay giving extra tickets to Plymouth? Heard something it's to do with a Geordie Muppet crying, but yeah.
Basically, with what's gone on, the club are being very, very careful with big away followings, because we've got Port Vale fans now popping up saying they put a complaint into the EFL, yet they didn't do it when they were there. It's all come after Hill for Newcastle. If you had a complaint, why wasn't it done the day after we played you? That's what annoys me. That's what annoys me.
And that was a nothing story anyway.
Yeah, it come out from the FA that they can't find any evidence. It was just one journalist for the Daily Mail being an absolute prat.
Well, we all know what Daily Mail are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're extremely moral.
I wish we could give you more, because it would be nice to have it full. And you always travel well anyway, and there's never any problem for you. But club are being very cautious about everything at the minute, sadly. And
do you think they'll give them the tickets then, Jake?
I think we've given another 500.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get snapped up and it's done. But I'd rather see a packed out away end. It makes for a better atmosphere. But
of course it does.
The sad thing with our club and what our club has with it in terms of history, we're never ever going to lose that kind of reputation on something which I need to always say we weren't involved in.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
It's Wednesday that get tarnished with it, not the FA whose fault it was.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I think the thing with that away end as well, though, it's not caged in anymore.
No.
There's allocated seating. If people went in, I know on an away day you don't generally sit where your seat is.
No.
But if you go to an area which is congested, I believe I've not been at the bottom part of that stand. I've always sat at the top.
Well, it's not
very
nice,
rarely-
that bottom part.
No.
Going into the bottom, can you go around the left or right, or is it just that central tunnel and then you've got to filter left or right after that?
If I remember correctly, it's Central Tunnel, but I can't remember.
No, you're better on top tier there, definitely.
That's why we've always never really sold out that bottom tier.
Yeah.
And we also stopped selling that bottom tier out after what happened to Chris Kirtland versus Leeds.
Yeah, he got slapped, didn't he?
Yeah.
ATID saying that they've completely sold out, but there's still at least 700 seats left in that stand. Yeah, there might be some
It's
more.
all on the club, mate. I've seen a lot of Plymouth fans turning around and having a go at us, but with what's happened recently, you can understand the club from a prep point. They don't want something else out. It's
Yeah.
like you've got to think of the PR thing, and you've got to think of the safety thing. Have we got enough due for the day? Have we got this? As much as I'd like to say we give, if money was no option, I said the best thing to Chance Theory do is knock that stand down and start again. But knocking a stand down costs money, and especially
money.
where it is, you're going to have to deal with people. You're going to have to deal with homeowners. You're going to have to deal with water
Yes,
companies. It's
yes.
hard.
Yes, there's all that to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the 72 review.
Yes.
Before we finish off, Barrow 0, Northampton 2. This one, Northampton stopped the two wins on the bounce, 2 defeats on the bounce. Sorry, in League Two, and Sam Hoskins involved in both of these. You've waxed lyrical about him before, Ian, haven't you? Sam Hoskins, you're a big fan of him.
Hoskins is a cheat code for League Two.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Actually, there's a few days left. Somebody might pick him up.
We were
yeah,
linked with him.
Northampton definitely needed that because they were going backwards. But it's put them now still fairly comfortable in third place.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Gillingham nearly got an excellent result.
They were 3-1 up, weren't they?
Yeah, they were 3-1 up and it was 3-3. And I'm thinking they may look at where Gillingham are now, though. If they keep putting in those kind of performances, they could get out of it.
Look, I'm
given
tipping them
themselves a great
to be
opportunity,
quite
haven't they?
honest. I'm tipping them to get out of it.
That lad they got from Crawley just hit in perfect form.
Yeah.
Well, what about they've signed two of Mansfield's best players, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've signed Lapsley, so there's got to be some money down there.
Is it Ollie Hawkins as well? I think.
Hawkins, yeah.
I think he's gone as well. Yeah. But yeah, they spent some money, and I think they've given themselves a great opportunity to get out of it.
Yeah,
A
they
great
have. They've
result,
given
3-3.
themselves a good chance.
Yeah, but great result, 3-3
We
at
saw them
Swindon.
and we thought they were dead and buried.
Yeah.
But there were one or two surprise results. I mean, Leyton Orient got beat again.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that gives Stevenage a great opportunity. They've got 2 games in hand. They're only 2 points behind them. So I think Leyton Orient hitting this sticky patch is giving Stevenage a really good opportunity to grab that top spot. But looking all the way down in 15th, the Rovers currently slipping further and further down the table. But we're only 5 points out of the playoffs. Said before we came live, although it's only 5 points, I've never felt further away from getting in the playoffs.
4 or 5 wins on truck and alter that. Can
The
we
problem
shoot
is,
4 or 5 wins
straight
to
back
end
up
the
the
season,
table.
Ian.
That's what I'm going to say. I don't see where you're getting 4 or 5 wins from.
No.
I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm just going to say it's possible.
You're
Maybe
very
on cover of
kind.
a magazine is possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ian.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Not without well, depends what magazine.
There were one or
I'll
two
just say-
surprises, though. I didn't expect Stockport to get beaten at Wimbledon.
No.
No, definitely not.
And
Yeah,
also
tables are shaking up.
Salford is still slipping, getting beat at Crawley.
Lizzie says Steve Evans versus Richie Wellens for a title. 2 lovely blokes. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
So long as they don't wrestle for it.
Yeah, if they wrestle for it, Richie Wellens is screwed.
But no, that brings us. We're so close to the hour mark. We're timing this pretty well now. I think we're getting
Doing
used
quite
to
well.
it.
We might get into a routine.
Yeah. But this brings us to the end of this weekend's 72 review. We hope that you've all enjoyed it. Any last words, Ian, before we round it off?
Next weekend's 72 review is going to be a massive one. What with Rotherham, Sheffield United, and Wednesday Plymouth.
I may be
Donny
drinking.
Hartlepool.
I might be drinking a lot next weekend. Let's see.
Yeah, and Rovers Hartlepool, sorry.
Yeah, massive
Yeah.
game.
Well, in context, it is, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need something big next weekend. So hopefully, we're
If you
all
lose to
in a happy mood
Hartlepool,
next
I
Sunday.
can see your fan base nuking Twitter and it just going offline.
Yeah, I think I'll avoid Twitter if we don't get a win next Saturday.
I'll understand if the internet's gone off in Doncaster.
But no, any final words, Jake, before we round up?
Just it's an interesting week coming up for Wednesday. We got Plymouth. We've got to put in a good performance. We're still after players in the market, and I'm intrigued to see what's happening in the next couple of days. If anyone free Tuesday night, I am doing a live stream on my channel. I'm doing a transfer deadline day special. I even got a Jim White tie because I'm going to have a shirt and a tie on.
Don't talk to me about that bloke. We could fill a programme for what I feel about that bloke.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got similar thoughts. But I'm doing like a transfer window booth. Worko, who was in the chat, is also joining me to do it as well. So I've got something to bounce ideas off. So it's not just me on my own like it was last season. Should be a bit of fun. Hopefully, I can stay awake till 11 o'clock. It'll be good.
If I knew where you lived, I'd come round with a big purple toy. And on that note, I think we'll finish off. If you've enjoyed this week's 72 review, please stick a big thumbs up on it for us, please. If you're watching this on repeat during the week, like I know quite a few people do, get your comments in the section down below. Please have a look at the description, visit Punk Chef 41 and Over the Bar, get subscribed to those. Subscribe to me if you haven't already as well. And yeah, all that's left for me to say is this has been the 72 review. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Ta-ra.